What up, DBs? I know what you're here for. You're here to learn about one of the best press techniques in the world. All right. Everyone wants to learn how to press. I'm going to teach you how to press. I'm going to leave my email in the description. So if you want to learn this technique in more detail, I have a complete drill package that you can buy, and it's going to give you everything that you can need to know about this technique, all the drills, all of that. All right. So let's talk about what this technique is called. So I'm going to let you watch it. All right. Tyson Campbell, one of the best young DBs. I love his technique. He's very consistent. Just look at the pad level. Just look at the stance. It's perfect. All right. So I'm going to play it. All right. So you saw the technique. Now we're going to put a name to it. So this is called the pure step technique. Pure technique. One of the most popular, I would say it's probably the best hard press technique out there right now because it keeps your feet consistent. So what do I mean by that? A lot of guys, they'll do something different with their feet. They're unable to control their feet because they're just reacting. All right. So they don't go to the line with a plan. So they'll pop their feet, they'll widen their base, they'll false step, they'll get unbalanced, they'll get on their heels. So what this allows you to do is have some rhythm with your feet. So the whole ideology behind it is establishing rhythm, have a rhythm step, a patient step, a read step. A lot of coaches call it something different. So instead of always doing something different with your feet, you're going to have a designated outside step, about a 6-inch step to your outside to provide some rhythm. Okay. So it doesn't need, it can't be a big step because then you're going to widen your base. So you can provide yourself with some rhythm, always knowing what you're going to do with your feet first. Some coaches, if the receiver's wide, instead of an outside pure step, they'll go with an inside pure step. So you can tweak this to your liking and to how you're teaching your corners. You want to be about 1.5 yards away. He's 2 yards. Once you get to the high levels, they'll pull you off a bit so you can read the release. But if you really just want to get hands on guys, I would suggest being about an arm's distance away. And then, like I said, on the release, you're going to go with that outside step. All right. So you notice how the receiver is faking inside here. We're going with the outside step. Keeps us square, keeps us patient. From there, you want to go with a kick. All right. So you want to go with a pure step to a kick step. Once the receiver declares, notice how we are not backing up. We're staying in our chair. All right. So you're going to need a lot of patience, a lot of work at this in order to get comfortable. And we're going to kick slide. All right. If he releases outside of our frame where we can't touch him, so i.e. a wide release or a speed release, we're going to go with no hands. All right. And we're going to stay on top. If he releases inside of our frame, so if he releases to this shoulder, we're going to go with one hand. If he releases in our frame, so chest to chest, we're going to go with 2 hands to protect us. So like a shock release. Okay. So if he goes chest to chest, 2 hands to one. If he goes outside, if he goes to that shoulder, 1 hand to none. And then if he goes way out to where we can't touch him, we go none. Does a good job of staying on top, and he's going to get a delayed jam here. All right. So that's the pure step. Again, outside read step, patient step, rhythm step, read the release, kick to stay on top. All right. And then he's going to get hands on late here. And here we have Ohio State working on the pure step technique. A lot of good DBs come out of Ohio State. So coaches, players, have your guys line up on a line, or you can line up. I usually have my guys line up in the middle. So if we're going with 5 yards, line up in the middle. So at the 3, and then have a receiver just kind of walk towards them. So if a receiver walks through these 2 lines, assuming we're here, all right, we would get 2 hands to 1. If the receiver tries to go for this little space right here, that would be just off shoulder. So we would go 1 hand. And if the receiver works towards this outside tick or this outside space, that's a speed release, no hands, and kick. All right. So the way they're drilling it, you can either clap, you can whistle, you can just say go. All right. But they're going to go with an outside step, and then they're shooting 2 hands to 1. I would steer away from 2 hands to 1 on anything other than a straight ahead release. Just because if a good receiver knocks those hands down, if you throw two hands, you're going to be locked. So again, if we're here and the receiver goes straight to our chest, a shock release, you can go two. But if he goes outside here, just stick with one, young guys. 2 to 1 is really tough, and it usually ends up in a reach. So just master the one hand, and then once you get comfortable on outside releases or just off center releases, you can go 2 to 1. Let's take a look at him over here. He's going pure step, 2 to 1, and then none would be getting your eyes down on that hip. Another way you can drill it, Eastern Washington University, just practicing on having reaction. So no matter what the receiver does on first movement, pure step, and then you can add hands, you can add releases to it. Pure step, punch. A brief introduction to the pure step technique. Again, I think it's one of the more popular or an easy ways to learn hard press. A kid can learn this. It's a good way to keep them patient, keep them square at the line. Remember, if you want a full packet of pure step drills or other press drills, I have those. I'll leave my email in the description. And I want to help you guys on your journey to becoming an elite DB. Again, this is Coach D Magic signing out. Please like, comment, subscribe on the new channel, DB Network.